G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'm giving you my best 17 prediction for the New Zealand Kiwis World Cup squad. Now this idea, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but this idea came from Talitha Parsons on my Australian Kangaroos video. She said, the Kiwis squad is stacked. I'd love to see a concept like you did for the Australian video, for the New Zealand one. So I'm very happy to oblige and do that. Now I'll pop up here somewhere the full squad that has been named so you guys can go over it and have a bit of a look before we get into this one. But obviously, guys, this is just my opinion. So I know a lot of you guys will probably disagree with the opinions I state in this video, and that's completely fine. Let me know what you do agree with down in the comments below, what changes you think should be made, and if there should be a player come in for one that I've selected, then please do let me know. But yeah, let's jump in and check this one out. So the New Zealand Kiwis World Cup best 17 prediction is up here now, guys. I'm going to do it player by player as I did for the Australian team. Starting off at fullback, I've gone Joseph Manu. So Joey Manu has had a breakout year once again for the Roosters, and I thought he excelled when they had him play at fullback. Obviously, James Tedesco is arguably the second greatest fullback of all time, and Joey Manu can't get a crack because of how well Tedesco plays and his leadership there. But I think Joseph Manu definitely deserves the number 1 jersey for the Kiwis, and I don't see anybody named in that squad taking it from him. The first winger is Jordan Rapana from the Canberra Raiders. Jordan's had an amazing season this year, and I definitely think he deserves to get one of those wing spots. He's arguably been the Canberra Raiders' best winger this year. He's a great finisher. I think he can take it to a lot of the other team's wingers. My first centre also comes from the Raiders, and it is Sebastian Kris, another player that sort of had a breakout year this year. Him and Tomoko, congratulations to both of them. They got named in this Kiwi squad. But I think for the best 17, Sebastian Kris has to be in there somewhere. My second centre is Peter Hiku, another player that's sort of gone under the radar with a good team. He's obviously playing for that Cowboys team that are contending for a grand final. They're in a prelim this weekend against the Eels. So, he's been huge for them this year. Obviously not to the level that a player like Valentine Holmes is, but he's still up there, and I think he deserves a start for the Kiwis. All right, the next winger I've got is Ronaldo Mulitalo, another guy that's, just continued to excel in the NRL. I think he deserves a spot in this 17. I definitely think he'll be in the best 17 for the Kiwis, and he is my pick for the other winger. Now, the first half, the 5'8", I've gone with Dylan Brown of the Parramatta Eels. Arguably, Parramatta's best player this year. I know you could say IPAP or Mitchell Moses or Sean Lane, but I think without Dylan Brown, the Eels are nowhere near as good as they have been this year. He had 29 runs on the weekend and ran for over 320 meters. That's insane. He definitely deserves the number 6 jersey for the Kiwis. In number 7, I don't think this one's a surprise to anyone. We've got Jerome Hughes. Now, Jerome, again, has had an amazing season for the Storm. If it wasn't for Nathan Cleary, Daly Cherry Evans, players like that in that origin sort of arena, I'd say people would look at him as the best or the form halfback in the comp. Obviously, you've got players like Nico Hines and Ben Hunt as well. But I just think that, Hughes doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He is such a good halfback and 100% deserves to start for the Kiwis. At number 8, I've gone James Fisher-Harris. I'd say James Fisher-Harris has been the best, if not one of the best props this year. I've obviously named another one that I think is probably the best prop of the season in number 10, and we'll get to that soon. But I think James Fisher-Harris has to be one of the props for the Kiwis. At number 9, and this one might be a little bit controversial, I've gone Jeremy Marshall-King from the Bulldogs. Now, another player that I think has had a massive breakout year. He has been amazing this year, and if he doesn't get at least in the 17-man squad, I would be very disappointed. I think he is an amazing and underrated dummy half. I think he should get the number 9 jersey, and I know a lot of people are going to say, Brandon Smith robbed. You don't know what you're talking about. Mate, just wait. Just hold off for a second and everything will be explained. This is just my prediction, guys. So if you do disagree, let me know why down in the comments. Right, number 10 is Joe Tarpany. Again, I think this one speaks for itself. And I tell you what, there's a lot of J's in this team. Crazy. But yeah, I do have Joe Tarpany as the number 10. I think Joe Tarpany and James Fisher-Harris have to be the starting front rowers in the best 17 squad for the Kiwis. When they play those semi-final games, I think this is the team list that they need to go in with. And I think Joe Tarpany has to be in that starting squad. Number 11, I've got Isaiah Papali'i. I think he's been arguably one of the best second rowers in the comp this year. I see a lot of people naming him in their team of the year. I'm not opposed to that either. Obviously, I had different players, but yes, I do think Isaiah Papali'i deserves a starting spot in this Kiwis side, and he is part of my best 17. Number 12 is Kenny Bromwich, and I know you guys are probably going to disagree with this one as well, but I've just put him in there mainly for the leadership and the experience. I think he's an absolute gun of a second rower, and I think he's got a good connection with Jerome Hughes. Dylan Brown's plays quite similar to Cam Munster, so I think Kenny Bromwich would feel very comfortable playing in that number 12 jersey, and I think that he 100% deserves it. Number 13 is Brandon Smith. Yes, I have Brandon Smith at lock, not at dummy half. Obviously, with Harry Grant playing the majority of the year at dummy half, Brandon Smith has either been a utility off the bench or he's played lock. I think this is the best position for him for the Kiwis, especially when you've got players like Jeremy Marshall-King that you can utilise at dummy half. Jeremy Marshall-King is a good attacking dummy half. He's still pretty good defensively as well, but he's going to get good ball to the forwards and good ball to the halves as well. So I think both these players needing to be in the 13, in the starting 13. All right, onto the bench, starting with Nelson Asofa Solomona. Now, I would not be upset if you had him in your starting squad. I just can't. I think he's got to come off the bench, and I think he will. I think this is this is one of the best Kiwi squads I reckon we have ever seen. And to have big NAS come off the bench is huge. He's got to be in that best 17. Next up, I've got Britton Nikora. He's kind of my utility off the bench because, he can fill in at lock. He can play in the second row. He can fill in at centre. So there's a lot of options that they could use for him. If one of the halves goes down, Britton Nikora can play in the centres. You could use maybe Joey Manu in the halves, move Peter Hiku to a wing. And there's a lot of options there for injuries. If Britton Nikora has to come on and play a utility role, I think he can do a job there. Number 16 for me is Jesse Bromwich. Like his brother, I think he needs to be in the squad somewhere. I couldn't fit him in the starting squad. Joe Tarpany and James Fisher-Harris, they have to start, in my opinion. But Jesse has to be in this squad somewhere, and I think he will come off the bench. Finally, I know he's been suspended, and he'll miss at least 2 games, but he will play in the semi-finals, and he needs to be in this team. That is Jared Waerea-Hargreaves. I hate the man with a passion, but I tell you what, he plays hard and he gets the job done. So I've got to have him in my 17-man squad. He has to be named on the bench. I don't think if you leave him out of the squad, I think that's absolutely ludicrous. If you do not have him in the squad, let me know why in the comments. I think that's one of the craziest things I hear is people saying that they want to leave JWH out. Personally, hate the man, cannot stand him. But, if I'm an international team going for a World Cup, I want him in my squad. You need that, that mongrel that's going to stir up players on the other opposite side of the field and cause errors. So I think he has to be in there. But guys, that is my 17-man squad. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you agree with this take? Do you disagree? I'd love to hear from you guys. But I hope you enjoy the footy this weekend. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. I really appreciate it, guys. If you could hit that like button and subscribe, hit the bell, turn on notifications, all that good stuff really helps me and the growth of my channel. Thank you all so much once again. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.